Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode, Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Battis, alongside two other short track guys in the house with me. As always, driver of the 07, Can'tQuitFishing.com sportsman here locally at Five Flags Speedway, and 2021 sportsman champion, Jim Pokrant. Ted Baber Video Productions, also locally here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida.
What's up?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Greetings to you, and let's start this off with since this is our Christmas edition, I wish everybody a happy Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, not that happy stuff.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, exactly. We've been doing this since April. We got started, and it's been a schedule for our agenda here, and we did get started in April, and we've had a blast every week, and it's really coming down to the end with Christmas this weekend, and then we're going to go into the new year, full throttle basically. And we appreciate all your support, and we do wish you a Merry Christmas. And guys, it's been such a pleasure just to kind of get off of our regiment, our schedule and itinerary. We just kind of hang out tonight and do the Christmas thing and just, wish everybody a happy Christmas and a new year. But, this is fun.
Very fun.
I've enjoyed doing this, man. We've had a blast, and we're going to keep doing it. But I'm just going to say that this racing season's been probably the best season I've ever had. Getting to do this has been a really awesome year. This year's flown by. I can't believe it's Christmas already. I mean, I thought it was Christmas in April when I got to do this because I get to talk about what I love, which is stock car racing. And I've had best finishes I've ever had in a season. 5 times second place. We finished third 3 other times. We've won a race. Snowball Derby, we got wrecked. Sorry, dude, if you are listening, the video shows that you wrecked me. I did not wreck you. Got to watch Bubba Pollard win a race this year, which was a cool thing. And, like I said, man, I enjoy doing this with you guys. And I just want to continue on next year, man. We're going to build a new car. I've got a new frame already started, got a cage cut off. We're going to have a new car beginning of next year, and we're going to go for 2022 track champion.
There we go.
Yeah, Ted, what are your plans coming up for this next year?
Pretty much the same thing. Going to be doing the in cars and on the tower stuff, and just having a good time watching what's going on the track.
And sponsoring the 07 Can't Fishing Sportsman, Ted Baber.
Yeah.
Video production, Emerald Coast Remodeling and Trim, all pool liners, Chevrolet Monte Carlo. And Tech Master and everybody else that helped me this year.
Yeah, and I do want to shout out that there is no eggnog involved in this episode. I promise you that.
No,
I don't have any eggnog whatsoever.
But, eggnog is the bomb, dude. You don't need alcohol in eggnog. You just need eggnog, period.
Yeah.
The Barber's thick kind of just oozes out of the container because it's so thick and gooey and yummy. Oh, yeah. And some Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies go perfect with it. Just dunk them in there. And,
we've got
making me drool here.
We have the tree up. We've got lights on it. We've got presents underneath, and no eggnog whatsoever to be seen.
No. Only presents I need are race car parts, fellas, because my car's destroyed and I got to spend some money.
No, the eggnog, the sugar and that stuff would send me into a coma anyway. So yeah, no.
So I mean, speaking of that sportsman progress now going into 2022, are you gonna try to stay with the same scheme? I know that Short Track Guys podcast logo is going to be back on the right quarter. I'm sure
it's going to be on the car. Yeah.
And but you're going to stay with that paint scheme and kind of, or are you going to change up anything as far as the body work goes, or
it depends. What's up with that? I had a good friend of mine, Mike Gorham, said he would pay for a wrap to wrap the car. If we wrap the car, I'm going with a Western Auto Darrell Waltrip paint scheme theme, because that was when I first started my first year at Five Flags. We changed the paint scheme of my car to that, and I won my first race with that paint scheme, the Western Auto Chevrolet. That's what I'd like to do, but if not, it can go back flat black with a Punisher symbol on the side. As a matter of fact, if the little jackleg did wreck me at the Derby, they've been threatening they're going to tear my car up, I just might as well go back to the Punisher symbol. And I have to touch on that just for a second, because I'm going to tell you something. I've been doing this for 28 years. If I was going to wreck you, you would have been sitting in the infield with your junk tore up and I'd have finished the race. I'm not going to destroy my stuff to destroy yours. I'm sorry. It's just not the way it works. It's like, I think it was wasn't it Landon Castle that got into it with Danica Patrick? And she spun him out and then she hit the wall and destroyed her car and he fired his up and went, somebody ought to teach her how to wreck somebody without tearing her car up.
Yeah, it's important. You need to know these things when you're going into a race.
Yeah, I mean, dang. But, it's been a great year, man. It really has been one of the best seasons I've ever had in a race car. The last two have been phenomenal.
Yep.
I joked that I should have been champion last year. I should have. But, even one of the track officials said that. But no big deal, I mean, we got one. I finally get a purple jacket, and I get all the accolades that go with it. And January the 8th is our awards banquet.
That's it.
And I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to accept it. And I'm going to bring me a long piece of paper and just go, yeah. Hope y'all got a few minutes because I got some people to talk about.
Well, we should expect you down the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade next year
probably.
with the strings and everything,
wouldn't that be cool?
And the big Jim Pokrant balloon coming down with the cape.
Would that be,
big fat redneck flying through there.
Yep.
But we may be in the Mardi Gras parade for Milton. I don't know if the car is going to make it, but in February we did it last year as a crew of left turns, and I think it'd be cool to have a Short Track Guys podcast sticker and you guys riding on the float with us and just have a good time, man. We'll enjoy a Mardi Gras parade. That would be fun.
It's it.
A Short Track Guys podcast, fun time outside of the studio.
That's
for
right.
a change.
Yeah. We could do a live deal from it. Bubba Bechtel, Bubba Bechtel was the judge last year.
Oh,
and we weren't fancy enough, but he got a kick out of it because I told him we were the 2020 legal champions at Five Flag Speedway, and he announced it just like that. Yeah, I walked 6 miles carrying a skunk, so I was tired. Or no, it was about 3.5 miles. I gave it, wasn't 6, but
felt like 6. Right?
It felt like 6. By the time we walked all the way down and then got to the end of the parade route, I was like, move. I got on the tailgate. I'm riding the rest of the way. To hell with this mess.
Are you saying you don't walk much?
Well, when you walk that far with a 16-pound skunk on your shoulder, it's kind of,
16 pounds.
That's how much Daisy weighs. The big brown one I got, she probably weighs more than that now. All they do is eat, sleep, and poop. Man, good Lord, I got 3 of them. Big old 12 sandwich eating, big Jabba the skunk over there. Whoa.
Well, I mean, weighing that much, if you need any weight in the car, then you can put one of them in there and
maybe
weigh down the left side or right side, actually, in your case. But,
But they're a lot of fun. They're fun to take places. Your reaction of people when you're walking down there with a skunk on your shoulder.
Like Tony Stewart.
Yeah, Tony. Oh, that was funny. He looked up and was like, whoa, that's different. I'm like, yeah, how's it going? But his old lady at the time, it wasn't the same one he's married to now, but she had to hold her. And there's a picture somewhere, him looking over his shoulder at her like, don't get any ideas. You ain't getting a skunk.
Oh. So, okay. It went that direction.
It went that direction. I'm pretty sure it did. They probably got on the plane and went, don't you even?
Yeah.
Well, I said the same thing. Don't be bringing that damn wild animal in our house. That was a dumb thing to say because, women, they're going to do what they want to do. And she did and brought her home. So.
And you're going to like it.
Yeah. And I did, actually. It was kind of cool sitting there watching TV with a skunk on your shoulder eating ice cream with her. So, a lot of fun. But we're off the rails. But back to racing. But,
yeah.
It's my sport. I love it. And I'm never wouldn't know you guys if I wasn't involved in that. Wouldn't know my best friend Martin, my buddy Dale. I met all these people because of racing. So my life is revolved around it. And I'm not giving up into next year. I'm just going to semi-retire. I want to go run Nashville. I want to maybe go to Winchester and run that CRA race just to do it. I mean, everybody gets to race. So if I show up, I'm going to get to race. I mean, dang, why wouldn't I want to go do that?
We're gonna wrap up. Not really right now, but I mean, this this Christmas break conversation we're gonna have is not really an itinerary episode that we've got going on. We just the sportsman progress going into 2022 and just kind of blowing some smoke really out of our mouths and just kind of chit-chatting about racing and, some progress and getting ready for next year. But speaking of Winchester, we've got a another surprise. We did last episode, the top drivers that we had counted down as far as the Short Track Guys podcast went, and I think that went well. We had some notables, and we had the top 5, and I think it's just. But this time we're going to have the top 10. I think 5 would be notable. We're going to have the top 5 short track races that are available that we cover and that we've been a part of. Right. And so this is kind of out of schedule. We're just kind of shooting the breeze, Short Track Guys podcast, talking about racing in and out, and just kind of hanging out. And just it's Christmas time.
Yep.
Yeah, time to have a little fun.
Yeah. Merry freaking Christmas. Well, I mean, in the type of, we need to figure out what the best short track race in America is. And you know what I'm going to vote for, hands down.
Yeah.
Snowball Derby, no matter what you say, or you can't convince me otherwise. I love every short track stock car race, the Rattler, the Oxford 250, and all these big races, Winchester, and California, and Wisconsin, and everywhere. But where do all those guys come in December?
Exactly.
They come to Pensacola, Florida, to Five Flag Speedway to try to make the Snowball Derby. I mean, the last chance race this year was full of big name drivers.
Yep.
Full of truck winners, full of guys that shouldn't be there.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I was listening to Door Bumper Clear. They did their ending episode, and his spotter, which is Darrell Wallace Jr.'s spotter, but he said that he's going to name the last chance race Snowball Derby the Derek Kraus Memorial 150 or Derek Kraus race, because he said he's always in the last chance race. He always has to race his way in. I said, well, maybe learn to be a better qualifier. I don't know.
Or become better friends with Derek Thorne.
Yeah, that would be a good thing.
That would help.
But I don't think Derek Thorne would give you any secrets. Hell no.
Probably not.
As bad as he is at Five Flag Speedway.
I don't really know if there are really any secrets to that 43 car. I just think these guys,
he's figured something
they're just quick to figure it out, and they've had the numbers, and there's some changes from here because of the temperatures. You got in Florida, 15 minutes, you don't like the weather, just wait a little bit, it'll change. That's just the way we've become accustomed to it. But I think these guys have come over. They've not just run here in Pensacola. They've been to Nashville. They've run across the country, and they've been dominant out there in the West Coast.
On the West Coast, he has.
But I think they figured this place out, and I don't think there are really any secrets. We can go back to Steve Buttrick.
Oh man,
a wheelman from the dirt, and then we go back episodes ago when his first year in the sportsman class, he was really, and no offense, Steve, but he was not good, and I would venture that he would agree with that. But the next year, he put it together and figured it out, and he never looked back. Oh yeah,
5 or 6 seasons consistently.
Yeah, so I think the 43 team from California in Bakersfield, Derek Thorne and his group with that Pepperjack Kennels group has come over, and they've really figured it out. And they're the ones, when they come over here, they're the ones you got to look out for.
Yeah, but driving a street stock ain't driving no late model. Those cars have infinite adjustments, and you have to be totally precise. With a street stock, you can get it close, and the driver can make up the difference. Right. On one of those, oh, no. You have to have it right, and that man has figured something out here. Because, you don't lead 287 laps of a Snowball Derby. Nobody has ever done that.
And 100 laps of the Snowflake.
Yeah, and led the entire Snowflake from flag to flag. He did. He led a bunch the year before in the Snowflake, I remember, and he broke. Yeah. Then Nasty dumped our boy Pollard, and then it got kind of ugly after that. But, Derek Thorne is just, I'm telling you, he has figured something out. And if they repave that track, he's going to have to figure it out again.
Last year,
as is everybody else, too.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll all be on the same or a different page. But, he'll still be ahead of the curve, though, I think.
Yeah, I hate to see that old place get paved. I like the old girl the way she is. She's got personality. You pave her, you take away her personality, and it takes about 4 or 5 years for it to start coming back. Because Mobile was like that. You couldn't spin a car out in Mobile. I tried one night. I was running like 4th place. Leaders are way ahead of me. Nobody's behind me. I'm running the corner, pitching the car. And Dave Redden going, what are you doing? I said, playing. He said, knock it off. Yeah. I said, I can't spin it. I'm trying it. And he's like, quit. before you wreck yourself. I'm like, dude, I'm running this thing hard as I can go, turning the car sideways and just gassing it up, and it's just digging coming off. So, but yeah, I'm gonna say my vote Snowball Derby no matter what. So, it is what it is.
There have been so many fantastic finishes there that time after time.
Oh yeah, Eckes and John Hunter Nemechek by inches.
Yep.
I mean, Derek Thorne getting moved out of the way, it was kind of exciting.
Twice,
yeah, and then DJ Vanderlee and Chase Elliott beating and banging coming to the checkered. I mean, they were off of turn 4 side by side.
DJ leads 4 of the 5 laps, and he just didn't lead the most important one, the very last one.
Yeah.
That was it.
My first feature, I led 1 lap. I led the very last lap. So, hey, that's the one that counts where the money is. It doesn't pay to lead that first lap, and people get stupid.
Yep.
But, I mean, there's been some of the best finishes. I've seen some good racing at other tracks, not saying there's not, but as far as side-by-side beating and banging to the finish.
Johanna Long, Landon Castle. That's another good one.
That was funny. She turned him, and he come to the front stretch. Everybody's like, he just went over and congratulated. He said, hey.
I've done the same.
Yeah. He couldn't go anywhere. He had no tires. I mean, he's on 100-lap old tires. She's on new skinnies. What do you think's going to happen? And if you watch it, she didn't really dump him. She just got on the throttle, and he couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. It was just like, oops.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional.
No.
I mean, if that was a racing deal, and Landon knew it, and it was in his interview. So, that was historic, obviously.
Absolutely.
It was a great race, too. And we talk about snowball derbies, I mean, pretty much throughout when we got started.
Yep,
and it all really boils down to, now, we talked about this before we got started, that we're going to be a little biased because we are located here within 15 minutes of the racetrack. And we've been to snowball derbies year after year after year. But there are other big races out there that we've covered that we're going to throw in the mix. And if it happens to be the snowball derby at the end, being number 1 with Derek Thorne as the top driver in our mind, as far as the Short Track Guys podcast goes in 2021, so be it. But there's 10 of them that we've got on the list. Right. And I'm going to throw them out randomly, and we'll talk about each one of them, and then we'll come and instead of doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we'll just take all of those, and then we'll all just say, this is the one. If it's a snowball derby, it is. If it's not, it's not.
It is.
So.
Snowball derby.
Yeah. Snowball derby. I'm going to put out the Red Bud 400 at Anderson, Indiana.
Didn't Hocevar win that one this year? I think so.
It's a big race.
It's
a huge race.
Beautiful racetrack too, by the way.
Yep, and we can go through regions. The ARCA Midwest Tour up in Wisconsin, Indiana, then in the Northeast and down here, and then out in California. There are huge late model races or short track races, basically. But just the Red Bud 400 is a big one
at Anderson, Indiana.
Yeah, Anderson, Indiana. Let's see, the Slinger Nationals.
Yeah. Little quarter mile. Fastest little quarter mile in America.
Yeah, it is. And
a lot of big names have won that race. I mean, you're talking Dick Trickle and Alan Kowicki and their latest Matt Kenseth won it.
Yeah.
I mean, you that's a race that a lot of big name guys, Seneca, all those guys used to run. Mike Eddy. So it's one of the big ones. I'm not going to say it ain't. That's a quarter mile little. Teeny little boat ring, and boy, they get around that place fast.
Yep. And then the All-American 400 in Nashville, the fairgrounds.
Yep. Gotta like the fairgrounds. I hope that big time racing comes back to there. And my hero, he was track champion there several times and won his first cup race at that place. So I want to run a CRA race there just because I can drive around a racetrack that the iconic Darrell Waltrip did, like Five Flags, because he did win the Snowball Derby. Yeah, that's another great race. It used to be the North-South race. The South guys had Confederate flags and a big S on the side of their car, and they quit doing that because it's politically incorrect. But it's still a great race every year. It comes down to a good finish. I mean, this year the two Wilson cars were battling for the lead for quite a while. That was a great show. Then Matt Craig ended up winning it. Mm-hmm. Good show.
Yep. Then we got the Winchester 400 at Winchester in Indiana. Another Indiana big race. There's
classic
quite a few of them in that area.
Yep. Classic high banked short track that they put on a good show. Been going there forever. Mark Martin's won that race. It's another one that's Seneca, Mike Eddy, Alan Kowicki, Dick Trickle, all those guys used to show up and run. So
Yeah, and we got to come back to Florida and go to New Smyrna and talk about the Governor's Cup. I mean, there's a lot of big names behind that. One we know of is no longer with us, David Rogers, and it's a big big event to go down there and win the Governor's Cup too in New Smyrna.
Bubba Pollard's got a Governor's Cup.
Yeah,
Gary Ballou.
Yeah,
the Andersons, Dick and Wayne, both I think have a Governor's Cup. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's another great little racetrack that another one I'd like to run at least once.
Yeah.
Bucket list track.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, we talked about this about, I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes ago. It's just become a barrel list, and now it's just like a dumpster list now because there are so many races out there to get to because all these guys I think it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I want to semi-retire after next year because I'd like to go race every once in a while. And then if there's going to be a race like that, why not get a hotel room and pile in the car and haul ass? I mean, it wouldn't hurt a thing for us to go up there and go to a race like that and enjoy it. I mean, I want to go to Eldora. I want to go to that and try to get in on that $80,000 50/50 they had. Give me some of that money.
Right, and it's just not asphalt too. We're talking about Eldora and dirt, the World 100,
the Bristol dirt race,
Bristol on dirt. They're getting ready here in about 3 weeks for the Chili Bowl Nationals in the complex. They're laying down the clay now and they're getting the track ready. I think today was day 4 of them bringing the clay in and getting everything ready indoors. And you'll see Christopher Bell, most likely Kyle Larson, Rico Abreu, and all these guys that are in that midget stuff that goes inside the complex. And, man, you want to talk about a race.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible.
Lord, yeah.
Definitely would be fun to watch.
Yeah, so we're throwing all those in the mix, and we got the Jim Sauter Classic up there again in the ARCA Midwest region, in Wisconsin. And, one of our becoming heroes, Rich Bickle, wins that and the Joe Shear Classic.
Yep.
I mean, his farewell
tour.
Farewell tour in the number 45.
Won several other features this year, but what was cool about the Joe Shear race is he drove number 36 in the race in memory of Joe Shear.
Yeah.
It was another guy that I forget from the Midwest that was another bad to the bone race car driver. Guys like him, Gary St. Amant. I mean, you Butch Miller. I mean, who could forget the number 52 Lane Automotive stock car that won the Snowball Derby twice, I think. I think he is a 2-time winner, maybe. But Butch Miller was another one. I mean, the Midwest was just
rife with
full of talent. And same thing with South Florida. Ballou, the Allisons. That's where Red Farmer originally came from. The Andersons, all those guys came from South Florida.
Dick Anderson, Wayne Anderson. I mean, George Gorham Jr., Jesse Dutilly, Michael Atwell, Michael House. I mean, we go on and on about these guys, and it's just an all-star list of names that are
Pensacola, Florida. Wayne Nedekin Sr. and Jr.
Yes.
Wayne Jr. Nedekin is in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. If you go up there and look in the Grand American section, his name is in there. Dave Mater III. Eddie Mercer, Scott Carlson, Freddie Fryer, Ronnie Sanders, Jerry Lawley.
Yeah.
I mean, all those guys were feature winners and Grand American champions from this area. I mean, you remember they used to run on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They'd run Friday night here, Saturday night in Mobile or Jackson, Mississippi, and then sometimes they'd go to Panama City and run that little half-mile track on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Short track racing is not what it used to be, and you guys used to do this stuff for a living, but now it's late models are step up, or you got to have lots of money behind you to keep doing it.
Right.
But still.
We really only have 2 left, and I'm going to pretty much throw this one in the Oxford 250.
Hell yeah.
Oxford 250 up in Maine.
One of the baddest short track races in America for sure. It's
bad
number
boys
2.
Went up there and won it a couple of years ago,
Bubba Pollard,
ago.
Sure did.
Bubba Pollard.
But in the 70s and 80s, it was the Allisons, the Waltrips, the Earnhardts. All them went up there and ran that race.
Yeah.
They'd take an old Busch Grand National car and go up there. But you had guys from up there like Robbie Crouch And who's the guy that won it this year? The 13 car.
Cassius Clark
Cassius Clark.
or Johnny Clark.
Johnny Clark. But you had
Johnny Clark.
You had Randy LaJoy. You come from up there. Used to run the Oxford race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these guys, man. And it was. I used to read it in Stock Racing Magazine. There was like 25 heat races. And then if you didn't make that, you had to run a C main. And if you won the C main, you could run the B main, and you might make the A feature.
Right.
I mean, the cars would be 4 or 5 wide at that little track. I mean, it was very interesting racing. But I'd say the Oxford 250 would be number 2. I think Snowball Derby's number 1, Oxford 250 number 2, Nashville number 3, and then we'll let the Wisconsin boys have the rest of the top 5.
Yeah, Slinger Nashville's got to be in the top 5.
Yeah, definitely.
And then probably Winchester.
Yeah, Indiana.
Yeah, or the All-American. All-American Winchester probably 5 tie.
Yeah.
But Slinger Nashville's 4. But I mean, we gotta boil down to it, and we talked about this when we started. We're going to be a little biased because we are in the area, 15 miles to the racetrack. The Snowball Derby, we've been involved with it for so long. We've seen so many historic events and drivers come through here that end up racing on the weekend. To me, I guess I got to give. It is the Snowball Derby.
Oh, yeah. That's unanimous.
Everybody's vote.
Yeah.
Well, I've been going to that race since I was 9 years old, so that makes me 42 years. I've been going to the Snowball Derby. You bled 1979. I thought it was 80, but I was wrong. I looked at my ticket. It was 1979. Right. Freddie Fryer won it. I mean, the names of those guys, man. And when you were a kid sitting in those grandstands and, Skip Manning, who was Winston Cup Rookie of the Year in the 80s, used to run Five Flag Speedway. I don't know whatever happened to him.
So much history.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at the guys who've won the Snowball Derby. Pete Hamilton, who's won a Daytona 500. Darrell Waltrip won a Daytona 500. And you got guys like Augie Grill and Rich Bickle, who's almost a truck champion. And has won a bunch of races in different series. Those guys used to come down here. I mean, Dick Trickle and Bob Seneker and Gary St. Amant, who won it twice. You just can't dispel any of those guys. And like I said, we're not putting down any other short track race in this country. No way whatsoever.
Right. No.
I mean, no disrespect to the Redbud 400 or the Winchester or the Oxford 250, but to us, from the finishes we've seen in the years we've been out there, the Snowball Derby has been the best of the best. And it's the last race of the year, basically. Everybody comes and tries to win it. And look how many drivers have won it and gone on to Cup careers.
Right.
And, Eric Jones. Kyle Busch has won it. Of course, he was already in Cup when he won it. But
Christian Eckes.
John Hunter
Nemechek. Chase Elliott.
Trace the Cup champion.
Yeah.
That's another Cup champion. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah. It is. Hands down. I mean, and like you said, no disrespect to all those other races, but they are at different times of the year. And I guess the Snowball Derby you could put as an advantage because everything else is over. A lot of the championships have been decided. And if you have the funding and you have the availability to make your way here and you file an entry, they're pretty much here testing. And I think some of them were here for maybe 2 weeks.
Probably.
A week and a half at least, testing, and then they would stay and not go back. And so they made, kind of a vacation with it. But there's also some seriousness just trying to get into it because it's that big.
It's a working vacation.
Pretty much. Yeah, St. Amant said he used to love to come there because he was tired of the cold winters up north. He would love it. He'd come down, stay at the beach with his family, crewed work on the car. He'd hang out with his family, and he stayed for a week after the Derby.
Right.
So this was a vacation for him. But I mean, like I said, it's prestigious. Every short track big race is prestigious. I mean, Oxford 250 is humongous. The All-American 400 is humongous. The Redbud 400, all these races are great.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're right. We're biased because we live here.
Right.
And like I said, I've been going to this race for 42 years. And man, some of the stuff I've seen over the years and just how much I love the sport in general. But man, Snowball Derby time, we all get excited. I wadded my stuff up and I'm ready for the Snowball Derby again.
Right. And
You
we can't forget, and we don't want to neglect out there in the West Coast with Derek Thorne and all the guys up there at the Spears Tour. The winter showdown and then the summer shootout.
Yep.
The big money races out there on the West Coast. Those guys, maybe not have the funding to get here or even run through some of the other series up in the Northeast, but they have just as good super late model and pro late model races out there than we do here. We don't see enough of it, except for like Jesse Love, Jeremy Doss, Derek Thorne, those type of guys that really have that opportunity to get here to perform.
Well, and you know who won out there in California 2 years in a row? Mm-hmm. Got his fender right there, baby. He won that race 2 years in a row, Bubba Pollard.
Yeah.
I mean, drove out there and spanked them. Then he went to Canada and won King of the Pros, paid $50,000. He's won the Oxford 250. I mean, the man's, he's our boy.
Yeah.
We're not going to deny that we're all Bubba Pollard fans.
Yeah, and he only did, win one race this year. Happened to be our local, I think it was the early race of the doubleheader back in the summer.
And probably would have done very well in the second if something
he was in the top six when the right front, I think control arm or something broke. But I tell you what, he started 17th. It wasn't like he started up front and drove away. And he had to pass Chandler Smith, the Snowball Derby winner. He had to pass the 35 car Jake Garcia. He didn't, it wasn't like he started up front and drove away. He had to work for that one. So
yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to be here. It's just a matter of getting funded and getting here and having a car ready for it.
Yeah, And you can't just show up and buy 3 sets of tires and expect to make the race and do good because you're going to burn up. You got to have money to buy tires to practice.
Yep.
You got to have money to buy, have the extra rims, have the extra shocks, the extra sway bars. You're going to have to come here and learn this place. And the first time here, you're not going to do very well because she's a funky old girl. She's hard to get a hold of.
Yep.
Well, of all the races that we just mentioned, rather than putting them 10-1, I think if we did a qualifying effort from all those races, they would all be within maybe 6 100ths
about that,
apart.
Yeah. Maybe a couple thousand.
And I want to throw everybody in that mix for that race, and all the directors and all the owners and all the track and the drivers and the crew members and everything. You are really what makes it happen, and that's what we get out of it. We enjoy talking about it. We enjoy seeing it and reading about it and then talking about it. And you are the guys, along with the fans, which we are the ones that make it all happen. And that's why we're Short Track Guys podcast. We want to talk about short track racing.
That's it. Yep. And we'd love for you guys that race dirt to get a hold of us. We'd love to get some of you dirt guys on here, too. I think that would be cool because, hey, we love dirt racing, too. It's fun to watch.
Oh, exactly.
But
the door's wide open.
Yeah, anybody, get a hold of us. But on a somber note, I have to bring this up. Today we lost a kind of a short track legend. He won an ARCA championship, and he was a truck driver in the truck series, won a race at Richmond. Brad Keselowski's dad, Bob Keselowski, passed away from cancer today, and we'd like to let the Keselowski family know we're thinking about them. They're in our thoughts and prayers, we're sorry for your loss. Bob was a great man. I will never forget when Carl Edwards turned Brad at that Busch race. I think it was in Iowa, and Brad got hit, and Carl got to him. Bob said, "Am I going to have to put on a uniform and go teach this kid a lesson?" I will never forget him saying that, but God rest you, Bob. Rest in peace, racer.
Yeah, amen. All right, guys. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas,
Ted.
to you,
Merry Christmas to you, Jim. Merry Christmas to everybody, our listeners out there. We say this, and we became more of more appreciative of our support because it is our motivation, your support, and we couldn't do it without you, and we appreciate it. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas, and check us out on Facebook. And please give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to us. That helps us move up the charts. We look forward to doing bigger and better things in 2022. Hopefully, maybe we'll do some YouTube stuff and you can actually see our ugly mugs.
Ooh, that'd be scary.
Yeah. Ooh. So, Merry Christmas, y'all, and have a great time. Enjoy time with your family, and just remember the reason for the season.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.